Hello everyone, thank you for joining us in this part 2 of the Enum lesson. We will modify our previous program and introduce the option enum. This is a really important construct to understand, one that you will encounter many times in your journey in learning Rust. Option is a predefined enum in the Rust standard library. This enum has two values, some and none. Some returns a value, and none used as a glorified null. In Rust, there's no such thing as null values, and that's why we have none. Since Rust does not support the null keyword, the value of none can be used by a function to return a null value. If, of course, there is data to return, then you use the sum variant. When you declare the option enum, you have to wrap it around a type, like so. Let's try and use the option enum in our previous program from lesson 11. Line 20 returns a value of F32. Line 22 panics if I provide a variant to the function that has no value. Now, if you look at my list of variants for unit conversion enum, I have miles to kilometers, liters to gallon, gallon to liters, and these don't have a value. So it's important to give it a variant that actually takes a value. Okay, but how can we be a little bit more clever about this? What if in the return value, we can actually give the option to the user to check whether the variant has the value or not. Maybe this is an excellent opportunity to use option here. And because option comes with a standard library, you don't really have to import it in any way, shape or form. So I'm gonna wrap my F32 in an option. I'll leave everything else exactly the same. And all I will do here, instead of panic at line 22, if this is the wrong variant that was given to me as an argument to this function at line 18 called 2, then I'd like to exit the program straight away and return a none. The way to do that is to use the keyword return. This is probably the first time you're seeing that. Again, and you go none. So again, with return, you can leave the semicolon or you can remove it. It doesn't really matter. It was done for aesthetics here. Okay, so that covers my variable that I'm declaring at line 19. So let's say the value was given to me correctly and everything's okay. So I can proceed to line 24. And of course, my return here is option. So I'm going to wrap that in sum. As I explained earlier, if there is indeed data to be used, then you need to wrap it in sum if you're using the option enum. So I'll just wrap this in sum and return it. Now, how can I use it? At line 30, we'll try and use the match expression. Just to show you, there's a couple of ways to do this, but let's use the match expression here. And I'll go to unit to be converted. So I'll grab this. Just paste it here, then I'll open my curly braces, then I'll have, so if you recall, it'll be one of these two, either sum or none. So if it is sum, do go ahead and print ln with the value that's wrapped in sum. Now, if I have no value, or this was a variant that is not value to be converted, so for example, it could have been any of the other variants, then none is returned, and I want to let the user know this variant has no value. Let me just remove that. Now we made use of option. Let's run it and see if this is going to work. Cargo run. There you go. It did actually work. Let's change this value here to 5 just to show you properly. Great, so that's working. An alternative way to achieve the same thing is to use the unwrap function that comes part of the option enum. Let me show you how this is done. So let's in fact delete the match expression and we'll straight away go println placeholder. Then what we'll do here, and this is something new that you probably haven't seen before, I'll go to unit conversion, and I'm gonna call miles to kilometers. And then what I will do here is something called unwrap. It will just unwrap the value that is encapsulated in sum, if there is some data in there. If there isn't, we also need to capture that eventuality. So what you can do here, you can do unwrap or. In the case of or, it will take the same data type that you've defined in the option. In our instance, it's F32. Basically, this says if there is data, then please go ahead and convert it. Otherwise, just return 0. Let's try and print that. There you go. That worked. This was a quick lesson to teach you how to use enums. It was in 2 parts. Initially, we covered enums, variants, the function within enums, and how you can attach data to individual variants. In this second lesson, lesson 12, we've covered option enum. Now, before we go, it is really important to understand that it's best to try things out and get acquainted with the language very quickly. Don't spend too much in theory. Just build something, get it out there, and it'll be much easier for you to pick up new things as you progress. Don't try and learn everything in one go. All right, thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next lesson.